The Irontrader, it is Monday night. Happy Labor Day. Hope everybody had a great weekend. But now it's time to go back to work here. Okay, so we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, at gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and we'll take a look at the old NQ. We'll see how that's going to be shaken out here for possible this week. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation advice. Stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, starter off, we got Bitcoin, daily and weekly chart. Now, you can see here we had this double top situation going on, and now we got this series of like a downtrend situation, and you can see how strong that 8-day just can't get through. Now, we got to see here, so far we have this low of 107,790. What we're going to be looking for is we're right about at that 108. 101, we're just below that, hanging right about that level. But this is going to be key is this 107 and 194. That's going to be very, very crucial on a closing basis. Now, if we start losing that, then what we're going to do is we'll come over here. We're looking at 105, 955 level. We come down here. We're looking at 105, 550. We're looking at 105, 440 level. Then what we can do is we can come right on down here. We're looking at 103, 850. And then we have, what do we got there? We got, 103. We have 103, 520. Then we come down here. You have 102, 425 level. And then we'll be looking right here at this 200-day at 105.41 flat. Now, right below that, we have this 96 area. That's at 395 on your weekly chart. Okay. Now, we got to see how here on the upside. So what we're really watching is we're going to watch the bottom of this candle right there. Okay, you're looking at 108.45 level. We'll come to the bottom here, 109.950 level. We'll come over here to the top. We're looking at 110.495, but this is going to be the key. It's going to be that 8-day at 111.506. Now, if we can get above all that there, then what we'll do is we're going to shoot up to the top of that candle, looking at 110.420 level. We'll look to Friday's high at that 113.390. Then we're looking for that 50-day, okay, 114.415, and then we have the 21-day right above it at 115.101 level. Now, we have a downtrending situation. 8-day crossed over your 21, crossed over your 50-day. This is very, very strong resistance. So always remember that. So even if it rallies up, that 8-day is going to stop it right in its track. We get above that, we can follow the candles, but then you have that 50-day to 21-day. Now, if we can crack above somehow that 21 SMA here, more than we come over top of this candle here, you're looking at that 117.315. Come to the top of level there, 117.640, and we just follow that 118.350, follow right on up here. Again, but you have very, very strong resistance on that 8-day, that 50-day, and that key 21 SMA. Now, we look here at the RSI. We had that negative divergence, obviously, and down she came. Okay, we're only sitting at 39. That's not overbought or oversold. The green here is way below. You can see the momentum to the downside, which is pretty obvious. Now, here we have the weekly chart. Now, you can see here we're hanging right here on this 108.97 level. That's going to be very, very critical. But when you look at this overall chart of Bitcoin, see how we have a low, higher low, higher low. This can break that 21-day, and that price can come all the way down to that 50-day, and it still is a very, very bullish chart because you got bottom left, upper right, okay? Now, it might not look it, might not feel it if you're long, but again, it does, okay? So what we're really watching is we're going to watch that 21-day on the downside, but this is going to be a key level on the upside. See how that 8-day now is rolling over? That's going to provide very, very strong resistance. Example right here, okay? See how that, when that price got below it, look what you did. You fought it the whole way until we can reverse it, and get back above it. So, okay, so what we're really doing is by Friday, okay, which is a shortened week, only 4 days this week, we have a ping pong action. Go be doing that 108.96 and that 114.869 level. Now, you can see here, this is nowhere near overbought or oversold. Now, your green crossed over your red. That shows momentum to the downside, and that's pretty much what you have. So this here is very, very critical, that key 108.96, and so is this 100-day. That's going to be next in line at that 107, 193 level. Okay, so again, we have this downtrending situation, but when you see these double tops and you see this topping tail, that tells you got to get your ass out of that trade, and all you do is you just keep trading it, kind of a situation, until we come right back down here again. Now, we had this red candle like a bear flag situation, and it played out nicely there on Friday. So again, just watch this 21-day. If it doesn't hold, we got a shot maybe even at that 50-day. Okay, very, very easy. Now, if this 100-day here doesn't hold here on the daily chart, then you got a good shot at retesting this 100-day all the way down here and possibly matching that 99.90 level here on the bottom of that candle. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. All right, here we have a breakout on gold, a breakout on silver. All right, so this is what we had. This is what we've been watching. As I said, we're looking for this target, that topping tail, 34 level. Okay, now you can see where we cracked above it at 35.57. So now we got to see how this is all going to close. Now again, when we hit this level, I said we're going to go to that 350 mark, 35.50. Okay, we hit 35.57. Your next level is going to be 3,600 and then 3,620. You can hit those levels very, very easily. Okay, so we have this really nice, good rising candlesticks going up with higher highs and higher lows. Let me big this up a little bit for you. Okay, yeah. Okay, see, higher highs, higher lows. We held this key level, and this line here, 8-day, crossed over your 21-day, looking very, very bullish. Okay, so now on a closing basis on the downside, this is what we're watching. The top of that candle, 35.34. That's going to be very, very critical. And then we just do the opposite of what we had on the upside, okay? So if we can't hold that 35.34, then we're going to look to the left of the chart here at 35.09 level, all right? That's what we're going to be looking for. Then we'll come over top of this candle right there, 34.83. Then we come to the top of there, 34.76. Then we had that 34.51, but the 8-day is going to be very critical at 34.56 level, okay? So that's going to be your key level. It's going to be the 8-day. 21 right there below it at 34.27, and then we can come down here to the bottom of this candle. You're looking at 34.96, and then we hit your 33.84, which is your 50-day, and then we have your 100-day at 33.53. But right now we're looking very, very bullish, but we need to close here on the top of this at that 35.34 level. We can. We're going to push that bad boy all the way to 3,600 very easy. Now, you got to be a little bit careful here because you can see here RSI, we're getting to that overbought condition. You're nowhere near it right now. We can go all the way up here like we had here. Okay, very, very easy. But right now, we're getting up towards that area. But your green just crossed the red. And now look at that. Look how nice this is. We're on the bottom. We're not up on the top situation. All right, so we're just starting this. But I've been pointing out this is a very, very bullish chart. Okay, easy way to trade this, GLD for the long. Okay, now silver, big time breakout. Look at here. So when we're down here, I just said, okay, we had to crack that 39.91. To crack that, you can go to 40, 42, and then when the next level 40 is 45, and then we'd be looking for that 50 level here on the old silver. Now you can see it here, the nice uptrending, but I want you to watch it. That 40.86, this is your right here. This is your price channels, and we're starting to get outside that price channels, and that never really lasts. It wants to come right back in. Perfect example. See how we got outside the price channels, and it wants to come towards that 8-day. Okay, same way here. Outside the price channel, come on towards that 8-day. So just be a little bit careful here, but right now, this could go very much higher. We look at the RSI. Well, look at this here. We're getting into that overbought condition. We're into that red area, but the green is over your, or red shows good momentum to the upside. But I think this has plenty of room to run. This is still a very, very bullish chart here on the old silver. Easy way to trade is SLV. Now, you can see here, the 8-day crossed over your 21-day, looking very, very nice. Okay, everything is curling up. But we're getting this really big run, so we got to see how this all closes up. But I'm looking for that 42 mark, and I'm looking for that 45 mark, and possible headed towards that 50 mark. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil and natural gas. All right, here we have the old crude ski. Now you can see here how on the old crude oil, we have sideways action. We're sitting right here, but we have a nice green candle. Okay, so let's just look at the upside here first. So we're looking at today's high, 64.88 level. So we want to come to the next level, 65.10. Okay, that'll be your next level of resistance. And then we have 65.54. And then we can come all the way up here to the 67.32, which is your 200-day. Now, we crack that. We want to come right to the bottom of that candle, 68.56. We'll come to the top there, 69.58. Then we have your 70.51. That's going to be your big retest if crude keeps moving higher. Now, you can see here how this 8-day. So when we were down here, I said we have this wedge. See how we had that wedge? Didn't know if it's going to break up. It's going to break down. But eventually now here, that 8-day crossed over the 21-day. And that shows a lot of good strength. The key is what it can do when it gets to this 50 SMA here. All right. So on the downside, we're watching, first of all, watching that 100-day 64.33 level. Next level, 64.01. And then your next support is going to be 63.77. Now we crack that and we lose that. You come right there at that 63.35. We'll come down to about a 62.95. And then we have 62.52. We have 61.83 and your retest at 61.45. Right now we just have this sideways action. So let's just see how it all shakes out. So we have a lot of good support, 100-day, 8-day and 21-day. But we also have big resistance of that 50-day, which is very, very strong. Okay. And we're going to have that 200-day. We have to see how that shakes out. Now, 50, oh man, that's not even overbought or even sold. That could go right up. The green crossed over your red. This is still looking very, very bullish until it isn't. Okay. Now we look at natural gas. Well, natty gas here. You can see where we spiked right up here. We hit this high of 306. So what we're looking on the left there, we're looking at 304. Went up to that into that area. Next level there was roughly 307 area. So it came right in that right here. If you just bring this right across here, okay, you see you have your 309, your 3010. We just so far couldn't get over it, and now we put this topping tail situation, so be a little bit careful on this. Now, if we can crack right on up here, what we're looking for is right there is that 3.148, but realistically, that 3.15, that's that 50-day simple moving average. That's where the price could roll. Then we have to see what happens once it get up there. The next level it could go is right there at 332, and then we could go 349. Now, easy way for me, I trade this UNG for the long, a KLD for the short. Works out very, very nice. Now, you can see here how this 8-day, okay, how it's crossed up. It's crossing, hasn't crossed the 21 yet, but it's working that direction. So this is going to be very good support. So you want to watch that 2.89, and we want to watch 2.84. Very, very key. Now, if that's lost, then we want to come to the bottom of this candle right here. This is 277. There's your gap. And then we want to look to the top there at 274. Your gap, your fill, and then we can look at 265, and then your retest down there at 262. Now, we're looking 50. That's not overbought or oversold. The green is still over your red. So you got to be just a little bit patient with this. Now, you can see here how we had an uptrend situation. Low, higher, low, higher, low, higher, low, and higher highs. But then we put this topping tail in here, and then we've had this big downtrend. But, okay, big but here. See how the downtrend? But now we're back above that 21-day and 8-day. So now this downtrend is trying to get, blow past it. However, you're still in a downtrend. We can come up to the 50-day and you're still being a downtrend. You come up to the 100-day, you're still in a downtrend. See how we have a high, lower high, lower high. We come all the way down here, still in a downtrend. So you got to get above this. Now, Farmer's Almanac predicting very, very cold, snowy winter. So again, that's going to take natural gas up. So again, any kind of a buying opportunity, if it comes down to this level and you hold that 21-day, you hold that 8-day, that could be a good buying opportunity here to take this long for the next 3 months. Okay. Now you want to get rid of that there at the end of November, because then your futures contracts start taking in place. That's where you want to get ready, make sure that you're out of the trade. But right now, this is still looking very, very good. And we're kind of trying to break this downtrend situation. Okay, let's take a look here now at the old NQ. Here we have the NQ. So we're up there 32, okay? So we had this huge run situation, came right on down, put another high, came right on down, and then we're holding that 50-day very nice. Now we just have this sideways consolidation action, okay? So what we're looking on the upside is we're looking at that 8-day at that 23,520. We're looking at that 21 SMA here at 23,575. Then we can work yourself right on up there at 23,762, and then we come up there at 23,803, and then we have your retest. Now you crack that 24,068, and we can head to 24,1, 24,2. You can head 25,000. We got to see how that all going to shake out, kind of a situation. Okay, so got to be a little bit patient with all of that. Now you can see here we have this a negative divergence going on here. Okay, so just be a little bit careful. See, we have a high, we have a lower high, and a high and a higher high. Okay, so we have this negative divergence. The green is below your red, so we have sideways action. But the key to this is holding this 50-day on a closing basis. 23,257. If you lose it, I'm going to come right to the bottom of the candle. You're looking at 22,775, and we can work yourself all the way down to this 100-day at 21,912 and 21,434. Now remember, this time of the year, okay, this is always very, very, shaky kind of a situation. Just go look back in history, 1987, when you had that crash, and that was the first week of that October situation. So just watch this 6-week period. You have the end of August, September, and that first week or so of October is is the worst time for stocks. So what you do is use stop losses. That's the very, very key. You take profits, you put them in your pocket. And remember, this is a trader's market, okay? This down here was a buy and hold. This is a trader's market. So just remember that. So let's just see if we can hold that 50-day. Okay, so far it's proven that it can. So if we can hold that 50-day, we're good. If not, you're going to come down to the retest, and then we could venture all the way down to the 100 and 200-day. But again, you crack above this 24.68, then we can venture right on up. But let's just see what this time of the year has and see how it's all going to shake out. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here first thing in the morning, and we will take a look at basically same thing. You know what I'm saying? The Bitcoin, the gold, the silver, crude oil, natural gas. We'll take a look at the NQs here, and we'll see how everything's going to be shaking out. Remember, it's a 4-day week. Okay, so you got to be a little bit patient, and we got to see how this all shakes out. So now remember, your API report for crude will be a day off, and now your natural gas will be a day off. Okay, so always remember that. So we got to see how this is all going to trade this year, or this week, I should say. Okay, remember, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.